Oh, what it is?
What's up?
Got your person in the cuts. Got.
God damn.
How are you?
I am so cold.
Same.
What is going on with this weather?
Like my socks. Whoa.
I'm literally double socked up at the moment because what is going on?
These pants are the only thing I own from the Fix, and I want to call them out and ask. Like, these pants are so perfect.
Oh yes,
the fit is perfect. It hugs my waist so nicely. But onchi dog.
Oh, them things.
Like the lint. Guys, please, the pants are so perfect. I want to go buy another pair. It's the first time I've ever gotten anything. I saw them on the mannequin. I was like, I need those.
You must check that collection.
Comfortable.
Like that current collection, the new collection of like pants and stuff.
I've never even looked at them because I always thought I'm too old.
Same.
But please, onchi. Anyway.
And actually, one of the buyers is a listener. Well, she's no longer a buyer anymore.
Okay,
she's moved over to a new role. She's a listener. Shout out Tandy. We love you.
Hi Tandy.
How are you doing?
I am well. I'm well.
Yeah.
I think also my energy levels are decent because it's school holidays.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I have so much energy. Not to say that anyone depletes me. Please, if you listen to this in 20 years' time, don't make it like a point for your therapist. Oh, my mom was always tired because of me. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the admin of everything that comes with school, the pickups, thinking about drop off, all of that.
Yeah. Being on like high alert in case anything happens. Yeah.
It's given me a lot of space.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really cold outside. Guys. So I'm trying to like hype myself up because we are banded down.
Oh,
so
I'm so
okay.
icy. It's so icy. Like the people that are sleeping alone, I'm those people that are sleeping alone. Thank God for an electric blanket because, guys, if it was any other case, I understand.
Would you have made a call?
I might have made a call. I know we spoke about them winter woes, but I may have made a call. Like if I didn't have electric blankets,
you would have made a call.
Oh, even more the people that had the power outages as well. Oh, I would have made a call.
Yeah, I respect anyone who had to make a call.
Oh, listen, in that instance, spin the block. There, I completely understand, girl. Go to that man's house. It's okay. We'll deal with the blowback after. It's okay.
Exactly.
I get it.
And treat it as a one-time thing.
Exactly. One-time thing.
Hit and run.
Exactly.
Like women in male-dominated fields.
Please, guys.
I need more of that.
Please.
Hit and run.
And let him know that that's all it is. You know, we know. Or even actually dupe him. Be like, no, but I'm here. Because that's, when we're talking about male-dominated. Exactly. Dupe him. Be like, no, but like, I just really missed you. And meanwhile, you're just there for the warmth.
Literally. You're just there for the cold front.
Exactly. This is your lesson for this week. This week. Yes.
This week, we're doing something that we don't usually do, which is focus an episode entirely on social commentary.
Yeah.
There's a video that really touched me in my studio.
Oh, absolutely.
Not only because of what was shared in the video, but because of how people seemed to receive the video.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So video is of a young lady living in Cape Town who went out to watch a game, watch the game at a pub in Cape Town. And because she mentions in the video that she's unemployed, she's in a bit of a tight financial situation, but still wants to go and socialize with friends.
Yeah.
She decides
she did say she's moving.
Yeah, she's leaving because and I have an experience of trying to live in Cape Town, and there's anyone who lives in Cape Town right now and is doing okay. I'm like, you rich, like you got that thing, like you got that thing. But anyway, she mentions in the video that she deliberately ate at home because she didn't want to pay for a meal and have a drink. She does not drink alcohol. So she goes, she has a non-alcoholic drink, and the bill comes and it's like $75 or $72 or whatever. And she's upset by this.
Yep.
And I'm like, yes, it is upsetting.
Yeah. This economy is upsetting, guys.
It is upsetting.
Doesn't matter where you are.
But so many people are like, have such interesting views on the thing.
Yeah.
Some are saying, people firstly, people have been complaining about Cape Town for some time. It's been a specific demographic that has been, and a specific demographic that has been not for the longest time because they weren't as affected as a specific demographic. The specific demographic, we know, typically will only complain about stuff when it starts to affect them directly.
Absolutely.
I know what it's like to try be of color and create a life in Cape Town. Very, very difficult, and to have access to certain spaces that you think from a lifestyle perspective you should have access to. So people are now saying, which I feel is unfair and a bit of a projection, are saying, oh, people in Cape Town only complain about not being able to have access to luxuries as opposed to making enough noise about their needs. And I'm like, I don't know. I think socializing with friends is a need.
Yeah, it's absolutely a need. It 100% is in the hierarchy of needs.
And a few episodes ago, we were speaking about how so much around how we socialize is rooted in the experience of going to a place and us having to spend money. And how difficult that is within this economy. And how difficult it actually is to have the conversations around that and how important it actually is. So I thought it would be a good time for us to have a chat about not internalizing the experiences that you're having with this economy and feeling like you're a bad person for being broke, or you're stinking up the vibes for saying you're broke. Because my sister,
this is the
how can you do well in this place that we're in, unless you're exploiting people or doing some crazy madlanga things. I don't know who is doing well and how. And number two, also, how do you, as the people who are on the other side, if you are, receive and support friends who are not doing well within this economy? And how do we shift and change how we socialize so that we can be more accommodating of each other's realities within this economy?
Absolutely. I wanted to just take us back to the hierarchy of needs. Obviously, this is it's a white man-made thing. There are criticisms of it, and also it's not strictly linear as well. There are many variations because, obviously the West is very individualistic. Whereas, for a lot of us, we've grown up in very collectivist settings. And I think that's even part of the struggle with what's going on when it comes to this context. But literally it starts at the bottom. There are physiological needs, which is air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Safety needs, which is personal security, employment, resources, health, property, love and belonging, friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection, esteem, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom, self-actualization, which is a desire to become the most you that you can be. And when we look at that hierarchy of needs and we look at it in relation to a recession, guess what? A lot of those needs aren't being met. So for people I found it a little bit I don't know, maybe it's because of the demographic that she's part of, that maybe people were just like, oh, whatever. I don't know, maybe if it would have been received better if it was maybe someone who looked like us and came through and was complaining about the price of a Sprite or Cola Tonic.
I've brought a wand so that I can put my hands up in a Teams meeting so that I don't interrupt Misho. Hands up.
Yes.
I think that's the case, right? Because I posted a TikTok video about the how depoliticized Women's Day is and Women's Month is. And there was an interesting comment about... So a lot of people had comments about all the weird things that people are saying about Women's Day and Women's Month, all the fluffy messages that have nothing to do with what the day is about. And this one person said, people keep saying women of all races marched. Am I tripping? And it's yes, babe, you are tripping, because this is one... When it comes to feminism within South Africa, when it comes to mobilization, when it comes to action, women of all races have come together multiple times to do things.
Absolutely.
But also on principle, I really don't get jiggy a lot with that whole thing of by virtue of the race of the woman, we are going to forget the principle that we're dealing with a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when it comes to our BEE scores,
look.
It's the same. So from a political perspective, even if certain women might hold different views to what you're aligned to from a POC perspective, when it comes to the systemic issues and issues that have to do with institutions, a lot of the time we are going to experience the brunt the same. And if they are complaining, imagine how much worse it is for women of color. So I didn't get that, and I didn't get the whole thing of having a lack of empathy just because the person complaining isn't a woman of color or isn't a person of color. Because I'm like, my baby, if they're complaining, it means go shoot me le.
Literally. And at a larger scale for us.
Yes.
Even. At a far larger scale for us. A lot of us are crying about those things too.
Which also puts us in very precarious positions, right? Because you find, and we've spoken about this multiple times where, especially when I worked in e-hailing, I saw this quite a lot where people are trying to satisfy that need for socializing, that need for being within community, within certain groups, and they are getting themselves in very uncomfortable situations while satisfying this need. So for instance, you get people that will literally request a ride without cash.
Oh yes.
And that just leads to
obviously that
messed up situations. You get people that go out to a restaurant and eat and are unable to pay.
Sure.
And it just leads to very weird situations. And yes, we're not saying irresponsible behavior like that makes sense. But the lack of these needs being satisfied leads to that. And it happens a lot to people of our demographic. And it's mainly because these things are not affordable.
Absolutely. And that's the truth, guys. I saw people trying to explain it away, but no, if you look, because I think she'd said something about, the cordial.
Yes,
if you were to buy the cordial,
$25.
it's like 20, if you were to buy the whole bottle, it's like maybe 40 something. I think I lost, I don't know, it might be 50 something, I'm not sure. And people were also trying to explain that away. And it's like, guys, yes, sure. But it's not a lie that things have gone up dramatically. The prices of things have gone up dramatically. We're always complaining about shrinkflation. We're always complaining. I mean, they released a stat about the food basket price has gone up to, I think, 5.5 now.
It's crazy. It's higher than minimum wage.
Yeah. Whereas it used to be 3.4, I think,
wage.
just a year ago. Now it's 5.5.
It's crazy. But also, I hate it when people tell me about the ins and outs of a restaurant and how the costings must work. I don't do that. I'm the consumer. I'm there to consume.
Yeah.
And don't try to convince me that this isn't too expensive when it actually is.
And it is, exactly. And I'm also just like, why? And I see it happening a lot when somebody who is considered privileged, complains about some of these things. Suddenly we want to become, the keepers of capitalism.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden we understand.
The protectors.
Yeah, we want to protect the fact that, no, but it has to be marked up. A restaurant needs to, excuse me. This is not your business. It is not your father's business either. Nor is it your grandfather's business either. So I don't understand why you guys would want to defend all of that. Yeah.
It's like the opportunity to one-up somebody that you think is more privileged than you and you think you've made better life choices than that person.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
the people that are actually seeing the commentary that you are making are people
that are in that situation. Yes, we see it all the time where it's like if a privileged person or a person perceived to be more privileged than others or is actually more privileged in certain areas or spaces, right, is vulnerable about not being able to meet these unfortunate circumstances that have been set or that are expected from the level of privilege that we think they have, is open about the difficulties that they're having. People who typically come from backgrounds that are, from a stats perspective or from a historic perspective, perceived to be more privileged, less privileged, who think that their success is a result of their own personal choices, will always one up. It's like people you get online that will be like, yeah, no, seeing white beggars, I always ask them, what were you doing during apartheid? Or like people who still say shit like that. It's like, you clearly have no understanding of
class implications.
Yes,
and, the implications of this society on class. Like, no, I saw that quite a bit, and I was a little bit disappointed because I was also like, even from an age perspective, I saw some of the people that were sort of trying to one up far older than this person. I think so. I think she was in her like early-ish or mid-20s, and here go people far older being like, oh no, this is not the thing that she's complaining about, isn't the thing that she's complaining about. How do you know that? How do you know that? Things are expensive, guys. Like, it's not
Things
nice.
Are very, very expensive.
It isn't nice paying for a 75 rand Sprite.
It's not.
It isn't nice. We need to be real.
Even the price of real cocktails is crazy.
At minimum, I think in Johannesburg it's like 170 something minimum.
130, 150, 160, 170. I'd rather not drink.
I'd rather not. And there's nothing wrong with complaining about these things.
There's genuinely nothing wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't need to feel shame about calling an expensive thing an expensive thing. It's not a personal failing that this economy is boxing us.
Yeah, I think I've been having to, in many instances, many conversations I've been having with people where, they've just kind of felt quite downtrodden around, the money situation. I've had to be like, yeah, guys, don't forget, we are in a recession. We are fully in a recession. For whatever reason, it isn't obviously publicly acknowledged. I'm sure, capitalism is just doing what I suppose it does best. But we are deep in a recession, guys. We are feeling it. And it's okay that you feel it. I don't know if maybe it's the social medias, that Instagram, especially that Instagram. That Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't like that app. I don't know if it's maybe that and, the stuff that people are putting out there that have people feeling some type of way. But you need to learn to own your situation. In a situation like this one, in a recession like the one that we are in order to keep your mind in the right place, you really do have to be real with yourself around these realities. You need to be real with yourself around that. You need to be real with yourself around your budget and, what you can and you can't do. And actually communicate that with the people in your life.
And be realistic about your consumption as well. Like, what are you looking at? Because it's very mind-boggling to be watching people going on Euro Summer and doing all these things when you're complaining about a 75 rand mocktail.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reality that we're in.
Yes, yeah.
Like, where you're looking at a price of bread and you're like, how is bread this expensive?
Yeah.
But then when you're on your phone, people that are living certain lives.
Precisely.
Very difficult.
It's really difficult. And I think that's why I think we even spoken about it. Like, if I'm in a stage of my life where I'm like, this is causing a little bit of friction for me, and unnecessary friction at that, or friction I don't want to actually, experience. It's okay to go, you know what, I'm deactivating or I'm taking a break from this because it's creating a dissonance for me where it's like, I'm feeling this economy in this way, but my peers are traveling in this way. And unfortunately, it's a part of a bigger issue, obviously, not just this recession, but I mean, it's then evident, when you speak about envy and jealousy and the things, that the places that, such thoughts can take you. I think I was watching a video by another creator, and they were saying, the best advice that they could give young women is to get off social media, and not necessarily get off social media as in like black pill yourself. Now you're like completely off and, you're not interacting with the world out there, but to like you're saying, assess your consumption, not just your consumption of like things, the tangible. That is definitely a factor, and we will speak, more about that. But your consumption of the content that you are, consuming. Is it content that has you sitting there and, devising reasons as to why they can afford it and you can't? Because that's not a good thing. That isn't good for you at all whatsoever. we shouldn't be, guys. We shouldn't be watching people live whatever life it is, and we're telling us, oh, well, they can do it because
they doing crime, or they don't have kids, they don't, or their parents pay.
It is not.
Once you start having those thoughts, maybe like I don't know, you can like hide a profile and all of that.
Yeah, like, it's okay. It really, really, really is okay. But from a tangible consumption perspective, like, I mean, we've spoken about it where it's like, even just treating yourself feels like, you end up feeling guilty.
Buying a coffee and you're like, ish.
You're like, oh,
40 rand on a cup of coffee. I could have had that at home.
Bruh, literally. And I mean, even in that type of scenario, like this, I feel like this time definitely calls on us to, if we are going to want to do that, you must also ask yourself, what am I doing it for? I think for me, it's something that we probably should have always asked ourselves. But I've seen people consuming with the intention of putting it out there.
So consuming with the intention of exhibiting.
Yes. And exhibiting for
to craft a perception.
To get whatever validation that you want to get. And yes, we are human. We want this validation, but you also need to assess that.
At what cost does this also come at in an economy like
this? At what cost does it come at? I even find, and I don't know, maybe I'm a bit, I don't know, maybe I'm being funny. Like, I don't even want to find myself in a situation where I'm posting groceries. I'm not gonna lie to you. And we've seen that grocery hauls definitely become more. Yeah, they become more, popular in these kind of.
But
settings.
It is a class signifier.
Yes,
because like things are so tight right now that so many people are going without so many things, and they're consuming certain content in certain ways. Like, I remember we had this grocery haul conversation for the first time probably 2 or 3 years ago. But like, this thing is happening and it's a bit weird. And now it's like a thing where people are like, repack my fridge with me, repack my detergents with me. Like that hyper consumerism in that way. It's a bit it's a bit scary.
Very dystopian.
But also it's like, it is very dystopian because it's like, you are showing people things that are so unattainable to them right now. Because a lot of it is not like cost-saving hacks.
No.
I've seen quite a few creators that do the whole cost-saving or hacks for people who live alone, all that. But then there's the other side where people are making salmon for their kids' lunch. And it's like, what are we doing?
And it's like, come on, guys, we know the price of salmon here.
What are we doing?
We know the price of salmon.
What are we doing?
And I think there's even from the people that are consuming, there's the defenses of that. But no, guys.
No, there's nothing to defend there.
There's nothing to defend.
Yes, people can make whatever lunch for their kids, but why are you showing people that? What's the purpose of showing people that in a South Africa where most kids are eating lunch at school? And I saw a stat recently that most of the kitchens that are making lunch in the government schools are actually not even meeting health and safety standards. Guys. But I'm just saying, like, just that level of mindfulness,
being conscious
in the society and in terms of what is actually attainable for the average person, and what do you gain from showing them that you're above. Like
which a lot of people were doing. Which a lot of people were doing with this topic, whether it was like, I'm just so above this. Like, I mean, I just
find it all odd.
Yeah, it made me really uncomfortable. I didn't weigh in on it, at the time, because I was just like, this is so uncomfortable, and I need to just figure out why it's making me as uncomfortable as it is. But I mean, even then weighing in on the friends, being like, but why didn't the friends...
I wanted to touch on that.
Let's get into that part.
So as Misha just mentioned, the second part of the conversation was people weighing in on that friendship group and the dynamic. And from that video, making certain assumptions about the group terms of, but why didn't they split the bill amongst themselves as the people that that were having food? Why would you let your friend only have a drink while you're having food? I found that very weird, and I think mainly because weird. I've been fortunate enough in my adult life for most of the times to be the friend or relative that typically has more to spend.
Yeah.
I ain't that no more.
The time is coming.
I ain't that no more.
It's coming though.
But that I've always that had more disposable income.
Yes.
So in that situation, if somebody wants to pay for their drink, you genuinely let them.
Yes.
Especially if you know that this friend is unemployed and is having a tough time, because in certain friendship groups you might be helping with other stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes, which is why like people are weird.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to relationship, like romantic relationship dynamics, they understand things so much. Like they will tell you about the girlfriend that is giving the boyfriend her card to pay.
Yes.
And they will understand the meaning of that and why she would be doing that so that he doesn't feel emasculated, but they wouldn't understand why a friend would let a friend pay for their own drink so that they don't feel like they're losing their sense of agency or like being able to participate in that way.
Yeah, because
that is
also
important.
Because as well, you know, saying to your friend, okay, friend, because I'm sure she wanted to be out, and there's also that
is why she made those decisions. She was like, I'm going to eat at home and have a drink.
Exactly. I won't drink. I won't have, you know, whatever it is there. And I mean, because a lot of people are like, oh no, but why couldn't they just, you know, stay at home? Because
they wanted to be out. They wanted to go watch the rugby.
We should be able to do that. We should be able to do that.
If you're a young person who's participating in this economy, like this person actually has, because they have savings, we don't know what's rendered them unemployed.
Yeah.
They want to take part.
And I think with what you're saying about, you know, you don't want to take away from that friend who is having that rough time by being like, you know what, no, let's not do that. Deciding on their behalf. There's being considerate and being thoughtful. And but that doesn't mean you think for that person, right? Like at the end of the day, you must still consult. Friend, is it fine if, you know, are you fine with us going to this place? If they're the one who suggested it, don't now turn around and be like, no, but friend, you are in this. They know that. They know that they're in this situation. If they are saying, friends, let's go, you know, watch at this place, then we're gonna go. If they, you know, are finding themselves in a position where they can pay, then sure, I'll let them pay. If, you know, they are in a tough situation and perhaps, you know, whatever it is, it's tough, then you offer. And even then you don't insist.
Yes, because I feel like if I'm in a tough situation, I'll be like, yo, friend, I'm broke.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh, friend, don't worry. Like, I've got you. And then at the table, I'm not making it a whole scene that like, I've got you. You don't even have $75.
Literally.
It's like, oh, I'll just cover. Oh, you didn't drink. I'll just cover yours. And whatever. So we don't know what the dynamic was.
Yeah.
But for me, it opened up the window around us not knowing what consideration means.
Yeah.
In terms of when friends or family or somebody's having a tough financial time.
Yeah.
Because with what you're saying, that like, we often think consideration means thinking for the person and doing all the stuff for them.
Yeah.
And then that's what often leads to so much resentment.
Absolutely.
Because when the person now isn't following the script the way we had it in our head, we're like, oh, they're so ungrateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas it could have just been a conversation. It really could have just been a conversation. I also just found it very funny that there were these sort of judgments passed, you know, on the friendship from people. I mean, obviously it's a blanket sort of thing and it doesn't apply to everybody, but like, how many times have we had these conversations where it's like, you know, the girls are out on a girls' trip and there's the one friend maybe who can't afford, you know, this thing, you know, they can't afford to, I mean, there was that whole situation where it was like,
dishes.
Like the friend who couldn't pay for certain things or whatever, like, we're going to make them do the dishes. You guys are the ones talking about,
I even found that chat very interesting because, I don't know, like, sometimes people paint situations in really interesting ways.
Yeah.
I'm like, realistically, I don't see how this pans out.
And you guys remain friends and you got in earnest, like...
But outside of that, like, it goes back to that chat that we always have about how when you first coming into your whole feminism and feminist awakening, and you're like, I don't do manual labor, higgy haga, but then you realize that the manual labor that you don't do affects the other woman and they have more to do. And then that conversation also progresses to the, but is it fair then that I have to do double the labor? Like I'm laboring so that I can contribute financially.
Yes.
Then I must also labor and contribute physically. Like where does that stand? And I think it's a conversation that we really have not resolved as a society, because it goes back to that thing of, if I go to work and I come back and there's relatives in the house, or the unemployed relative in the house, and I must come back and cook, or come back with food to cook. I've gone to work. It's an unfair expectation if I verbalize to the relative that like you should be doing dishes or you should be like responsible
helping
for the
out,
upkeep of the house. It's like, you're treating that person like a slave. But it's like, but I'm going to labor where I labor, and I come back with resources that sustain the house. But the conversation doesn't graduate to get to the point where it's like, what is fair on who?
What is fair on who? Yeah, and who takes the prerogative, who doesn't? For me personally, I think, like, guys, in an ideal world, we're taking the necessary prerogatives, hey?
Everybody should be
taking the necessary, prerogatives, but also everybody should be wanting to give outside of from a place of ego as well. Because when we're saying like I labor out there, that's also ego. It's all ego. But as well, it's that thoughtfulness, that consideration that, okay, how do I contribute when I cannot contribute in a certain way? And unfortunately, in these instances and from these chats that I've seen, it really does get quite like condescending, quite dark very quickly, because to relegate somebody to a certain job you wouldn't even do because of the financial, sort of situation. It's kind of But you're right, like the conversation hasn't evolved.
It doesn't get to the point where we figure out what's fair for everyone. Because like I labor out there to bring the from ego. I'm working, they expect me to be a slave, blah, blah, blah.
Ego.
It's ego as well. So it's like, where do we go? But I think what we were getting to was, how do we, first of all, learn to have the necessary conversations because we mustn't be unrealistic about how big of a part going out is of our socialization. Like it's key in how a lot of people socialize.
Especially people in their 20s. Like for us, I think, for me, I don't really like have a thing about going out, because I always say like, I've done that, in the way that it's expected of young people to sort of be out and about. So I don't really feel the need to do that. But like there are people who absolutely feel the need to be out there. They to them that like it gives them something.
I don't like going out that much, but I genuinely enjoy going to watch sports at a pub. And being with other people and the vibe and the euphoria, all of that. I love that.
And we should be able to do that.
I think if that's a part of how you socialize as a community, as a group, you need to figure out what consideration looks like for each other within that, without people being made to feel small, and without doing it from like an ego perspective. So for instance, for me, I genuinely love, especially when I've had a few drinks, I like looking after my people.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I genuinely like looking after my people, especially when I have a little bit extra.
Yes. Oh, no, you really do.
And
she really
like,
does.
If somebody's younger than me, I love looking out for them. If I know the financial situation is different, I love looking out for them. But like those times aren't as readily available as they typically are. And also like when people know that it's tough for everyone, it's especially people who are honest people, it's more difficult for them to ask or to have an expectation of you to help them out, especially when they feel like it's something that is an extra and not necessarily a need. So it's like it's difficult to even ask for the needs for honest people. So now how do I then come to you, Misha, and be like, girl, I genuinely can't go out. Like I can't join you guys at this thing because I don't have cash. Especially when I know that you're the kind of person that would probably offer to help me out, but I know you're in a tight spot as well. It's like, how do we navigate those conversations.
Yeah, guys. Yo. It's tough. It's tough. Like, and it's not as easy as saying just talk about it. I mean, I think it can be.
It starts there?
It starts there, yeah. I think it can be in that we can be like, okay, listen, this is my situation. But I want to be able to see you guys. I want to be able to social. Like I've been thinking about that a lot as well, where I'm like, oh, I need to also have this kind of conversation where it's like, okay, guys, I do want to be able to see you guys. I don't necessarily want to be able to do it out there because I just also I don't enjoy it. You know, maybe it's just the season I'm at the moment where I'm just really not enjoying it. Outside of the costs, it is expensive too. But yeah, I wonder if we could just start there at like, listen, friend, this is it. This is perhaps, you know, what I would like to do, but I don't want to do it in this way. But I also understand that it's important for you as my friend, because there's that element. I cannot now want to confine the people, you know, to indoors and whatnot when they enjoy a certain vibe. But you know, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if the girls are having, you know, this conversation.
I don't know, because it's just a really tough chat to have. Yeah. First of all, because we tie so much of our morality, of our being to how capable we are.
Yeah.
So it feels like a personal failing on a crazy level when you cannot do things because of your finances. Yes. Like it is such a big shame that I deal with, even though we talk about this all the time. Yeah. But like when I'm tight, like
it's not fun.
It's not nice. Especially because it's like you have this thing in your mind where it's like people think I earn this much or I have this much or you know,
and you also feel that pressure to
and
like
you feel that pressure to keep that up, or you feel that pressure to. I think the biggest thing is like how people speak about how people manage money. Like there's so much shame attached in how people speak about how you manage your money, and it's like
so much. Guys.
First of all, I'm feeling bad over buying groceries because it feels like poor money management because of how everybody speaks about it.
Yeah,
I'm feeling bad. I feel like I'm not saving enough.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not. You know, there's so many things attached to money. Yeah, and I just feel like the language around money is just so shameful.
Yes, extremely.
To then be vulnerable with people about your finances is a very difficult thing to do.
Like, I'll even make an example of if you were to go to someone and you're like, you know, can you teach me about investing? Then it's going to be, oh, don't you know about, like, I've even seen.
Don't you know about your tax-free saves?
I've even seen that stuff like, why can't you just share the information normally?
Without projection.
Say, hey, guys, I'm aware that there's some people who, and I don't know why we also like to act like it's not a common thing for people to not know these things. Guys, please.
Why would
your
we know
parents
these things?
Did not know these things.
Why would we know these things? Like the average South African does not have I'll say like financial, social capital,
but also
to be exposed to this. Yes, because of our history.
Hello?
Because of our history. Like, so I don't know why people act brand new, but obviously it does have an impact on all of our self-esteems because of how rampant it is.
Yeah.
So
and it's just these people that are sharing this information. It's like, why can't you just share the information normally? Why do you want to tie so much shame to
because that one-upping. Guys, like, play competitive sports.
Please. Don't
do like social sports on your own, like so that you can one-up yourself. Yeah. Like compete with yourself there on Strava, because this thing of constantly trying to find ways to one-up is like, just...
There's no world where I'm going to be condescending about cybersecurity. Because I understand that it's not everybody that knows these things, guys. We just happen to have the social media and all of that, but it's not like you know the ins and outs of that. So there's no world where I'm going to start with shame.
You only reserve shame for deadbeats.
And I'm also just like, it's very strange when, you know, people like to use shame. When we think about our early banking systems, if you think about, you know, as women, as black people, stokvels, that's a banking system. That's an investment system. Like, and even seeing those people who are, you know, now sharing these informations about, you know, investments and stocks and all of that, talking down on those guys. Why can't you just share information, give people information from a good posture, from a heart posture? Even worse, those of you who are Christian and you want to share this information, and each and every time your posture is a very condescending one. It's a very you've got your nose up at people. And it's like, guys, you're not going to die if you give people information.
Or just keep it to yourself, okay?
Or keep it to yourself from a place of generosity. You're not gonna die.
No, to me it also says they don't have a good relationship with this money that they're telling us about. Because with a lot of people, it also comes from this perspective of like, oh my gosh, like, so I'm not supposed to be living.
Yeah.
Like I'm supposed to be putting all this money away and I'm supposed to be but unpili. Like what? So how do we find the balance?
Yes.
So I think that's the one thing that makes it very difficult to raise these things. But I think you raised a very important thing around the isolation, like that comes with not wanting to change the dynamic of the group, not wanting other people to now stop doing things in a certain way because you're going through a thing.
Yeah.
But then that also leads to so much more isolation because it's like we keep inviting this person.
Yes.
They don't give us like a concrete reason why, but they're always saying no. Yeah. And then we get to the point where we stop inviting them.
Yes.
And then it's like now you're completely that creates like another mess.
Yeah.
So I think each of us needs to do our own work in terms of how do I bring this up to my community.
Yeah. And one of the ways in which I'm inflexible as well when it comes to this situation, because yes, as much as we are like, it's important for us to be able to be out, what are the ways as the people who want to be out that we're being inflexible in this situation?
Yes.
What are the ways that we can amend this? How can we, come up with a nice sort of sweet spot? Because it's also that, guys, we must also, part of, relationship, part of friendship is that coming together and coming up with a solution together. To say, okay, maybe a sweet spot would be we meet up at this person's place, and yes, obviously that person is sort of saddled with the responsibility of like hosting and making sure,
because
but
there's
it's like
that.
There's that where it's like, okay, maybe let's consider we used to do that a lot, like when we were broke,
20s,
when we were like down bad, we would be like, okay, we know we're gonna hang out on a Friday or whatever. Each person 50 rand.
Let's buy meat.
Let's cook. Let's chill, and that's that. And even if you're doing it while dressed up, like if you must
whatever you feel like.
I think we also do need to be like creative, and flexible and like adaptable, because that this economy also needs us to be that, guys. If you are rigid, if you are inflexible, this economy is going to eat you up.
It really is.
It's going to eat you up.
It's going to put you in a much worse position.
Yeah, literally, you're just going to find yourself in like essentially a sinkhole that you can't even get out of because, you're not going, stopping and going, oh, okay, this may not be working anymore. Let me amend.
But I think a big mistake that we make quite a lot is thinking that the things we enjoy aren't part of a performance.
No.
By virtue of enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like we don't strip it down.
Yes.
And I think I had this realization when last year when I took a break from buying clothes.
Yes, with the sneakers.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like this was part of a performance. Like it was part of dressing up my identity and who I am and my up, like
and what people must associate me with.
Yes, and my trajectory and all of that. And it was like, it was a trust mark of me doing well.
Yeah.
Like I have the latest handbag. I have the latest pair of shoes or jacket or this or this. It was a marker of that. And I think like a lot of the times, even if you enjoy going out, even if you enjoy drinking an expensive bottle of wine or whiskey or whatever, it's a part of a performance. Like everything is performative, but we need to gauge like what makes sense at a time like this.
Yeah, at a time like
and
this, exactly.
What can we continue with less risk at a time like this? Because I think a lot of the times we'll brush off things and be like, no, but I actually enjoy it.
Yeah, but I really like it.
I really like it. And like we as a group, we really love going to a fancy restaurant and dressing up and taking pictures. and doing this or doing that, and it's our thing and it's our treat and all of that. It's like, but we can't maintain that anymore.
No.
We can't maintain that anymore. So what do we look like?
Yeah.
Who are we? What do we actually do now? How do we adjust all of that?
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
A big part of it.
It's funny that you mentioned maintain, because, another thing that's also that I feel like is definitely an economic indicator is around maintenance. It's been very much on the up and up, around beauty maintenance for women.
Wow. Yeah, that's a chat.
It's really been on the up and up, these days. And it's not a coincidence that it's on the up and up while we are in a deep recession. It's not a coincidence.
It's also a differentiator. I think we've had this conversation many times before in terms of like beauty, attraction, and the economics of it all.
Yeah.
And in times like this where money is really tight and there's certain key differentiators that are visual signifiers and that boost attraction for certain reasons, can be multiple reasons, and don't restrict it to romantic relationships. I already know where your minds are going, but it's a signifier even from a professionalism perspective. I put inverted commas for 100%. Those listening to the audio. You're perceived to be more professional, more kept together if you adhere to certain beauty maintenance standards. So there's so much at play within that, and it's going to grow and get more ridiculous, as you're saying, because the signifiers and the differentiators need to be you need to be so different from those who cannot meet that standard, so that you can remain attractive or desirable within those spheres, whether it be romantic, friendships, professional life, anything, even actually church.
That's
the wild part. Even church,
100%.
There's that religious.
If you don't conform, in that sense, from an appearance perspective, then it's like, oh, you are not part of the in group. But I think there really has been, and it's like we're saying, it's definitely on the up and up. That uptake of especially Black women as well. And not just in South Africa, like these conversations are happening, in the US. I think I'd seen the conversation actually taking place yesterday, where there is even like a higher push for that, like a harder push for like that conformity.
Yeah.
For us to have this clean girl thing. And I don't know if maybe the girls feel like their concept of liberation looks like us being clean girls and looking this way. Guys, that is not going to liberate us. It's not going to liberate us. It's not going to make us sisters.
And it's also making life more expensive.
It's making life more expensive. It's also making you perform a whole lot more, not just romantically, in your platonic relationships.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like, a lot of people talk about the finance girlies and how they dress to work and how they're always in like certain.
Oh yeah, I get dubbed. Oh, are you a creative? I'm in this finance that you're also in the same with. Why would you think I'm creative in the same building?
It's because of the way you appear. But also, I always find that chat so interesting because, I just find it really interesting from the perspective of the degree of the performance based on your social and your cultural capital. Yeah. Because it feels like when you get into a world and you have lower, I'm not even saying this in a derogatory way. But if you have lower social and cultural capital, you have to perform more to fit in.
Oh yeah.
But when you get into a world and it is a world that has always been your world, you don't have to perform as much. Yeah. But those who are performing more, they need to other
those
you who are performing less because we've worked so hard to attain this. Yeah. Why aren't you doing this?
Why aren't you doing the same? And it's like
we don't care about the same thing. It's a very interesting thing. I always look at it when like even people go to the mall. It's just an interesting thing that I love.
Especially in this Johannesburg also. Like
mall, restaurants. It's so interesting.
Now you can't even go there with your bare face. Because it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. You
need to be seen a certain
way.
way.
People would tell you that like, I feel like people look so sleepy without lashes on. it's so interesting that like the default is assumed to be wrong.
Yeah.
Like who you are as
who you are is as you.
Very
I mean, even down to now you guys are, because that's also another thing. We'll talk about
They said our fingers look like thumbs.
Child,
without nail polish.
Without nail polish. Like, and it's like, you are not born with nail polish, isn't it? But also, even now the wrinkles on the hands.
Oh yeah, the whole sunscreen.
You guys have now invented that insecurity. And look, it's one thing for you guys to, to invent these insecurities. It's another thing when you don't keep them to yourself.
Yes, when you want them to be shared.
Oh.
That's a topic on its own.
Like,
that's a topic on its
own. If there's one thing I hate, it genuinely is that when it comes to the beauty standards, even the weight stuff, we need to speak about that because there's also the uptick in eating disorders.
Yeah, and especially the fitness girlies.
We know that it is contagious. Yeah. It is contagious. Yeah. The research is there.
Yeah.
If you speak to people who've been in, to girls' school, they will tell you about that.
And the masking is on another level because people mask with the whole fitness thing.
Yes.
And we're not saying this in like a judgmental, derogatory way, but I think we need to be more conscious of what we're sharing and how.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to a nutrition.
Yes. There's no world where I'm going to put all of my stuff out there like that. Like,
and then not feel responsible for,
and not feel like personally, look, there's no world where I'm going to, and even Zara Larson, I think she's been getting quite a bit of pushback because there've been people, and it's a very internet thing that's being done. People have been asking her about her workout routine, and she was just like, guys, I just, these are genes mostly, but like, you can just go to YouTube and like look up.
You know what you want to do with your body, go find it on YouTube.
Because they wanted to kill Lori Harvey when she now told them, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. But you were begging her for that. She's telling you that very real thing that she's doing. And then now you want to kill her. But personally for me, there's no world where I'm going to be posting about my fitness stuff. Sorry guys.
I wouldn't post about the nutrition
especially.
But also, I think when it comes to food and the different relationships that women have with it, especially when it's weight related, I think you need to be very careful with what you're sharing and how you're sharing it because as you said, it's so easy to develop an eating disorder.
Yeah.
We're seeing so many people with them and it's very contagious because people are very visual. They see the results on another person and they forget about their body being very different, their genetic makeup being very different, and they think they want to attain that. I see it a lot with like within my own journey in terms of like people assume you're strong or you're good at a thing because you're skinny.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like I'm weak, my legs are weak, this. There's so many different things happening with my body that you don't know about.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to our bodies, the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself.
Yeah.
And the goals that are most important are the ones that you set for yourself. Yeah. And how you achieve them should be based on how your body works and who you are. And you have to get an understanding of that first, or else you will find yourself in a higi haga. I know we've digressed a bit.
Yeah, we really have.
So I think I want to loop us back into our chats and maybe end things with just like a reflection on how you being the friend that is in the financial situation. What do you think the best way is to let the people around you know? And then also being the friends that are not in the financial situation. Yeah. What is a good way to be considerate, even if the friend hasn't brought it up or hasn't been direct about it, without sort of making the friend small or being condescending or othering them or being driven by ego in how you extend yourself to that friend?
Whew. Guys, for me, I'll always say it starts with talking. As the friend who is experiencing that, saying, yo guys, financially this is currently this is I found where I've had those conversations, it really made my life so much easier. To be like, yo, you guys, you saw I got a car, I got this, and then the recession. So like, don't be surprised if perhaps there's certain things I may not be able to do. For me, I think it's a good start, just in being able to communicate that. as the friend who, you know, let's say someone else is sort of having that tough time, but, you know, we haven't really been able to kind of have that conversation. I think, for one, continue extending the invitations to them. When you do see that, like, oh, okay, this person is kind of like, they're not making it, or like the excuses are a little bit, then I think it shouldn't be a case of being like, no, I'm going to wait for them to come. I think it's also just a thing of, friend, what's up? Like, talk to me. What's going on? Reassuring that, look, I'm not judging you. This does not come from a judgmental place. You know, we want to help. Or, you know, I want to hear you out. It's not even help. I just want to hear you out, you know, so I can also understand what's going on, because, you know, it is also, you know, our responsibility as, you know, friends to keep each other, you know, up to speed. I really think it starts with the conversation. If you can conquer that conversation, if you can transcend being able to say, I'm having a rough time, or I see you are having a rough time, or I see you're not, you know, coming for X, Y, and Z, Y, or whatever it is. I think being able to figure out what next is definitely something that you can do together. I don't think it's a one size fits all, you know, type of solution that you can bring up, because once again, like, it can't be a case of like, no, then you guys come to my place. Okay, but what if my place is like 30 minutes away?
Yes, which still includes the Uber to and back, or driving.
Yeah. So I think, I think having that conversation is key, but also within ourselves, I think it's also fair for us we need to just remember that, guys, we're in a recession. Like,
it's not personal failing.
It's not a personal failing. I think, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say, where it's like, where we can, let's try and just get that shame out as much. It's difficult, especially like when it comes to finance. It is hard. Like, I know I'm talking this shit, but like, it's very difficult. It's hard. Like, I mean, even just going to parents and being like, yo, this is the situation. Then,
because they'll be like, you earn way more than I've ever earned in my life. What do you mean?
I've had to be very frank with my parents to be like, excuse me, you both have been in a double income household for how many years? Since you were 21, 20 whatever. I'm not in a, you know, I've had to be really
drum it down.
I've had to drum it down to them to say, guys, we're not living the same. Yes, I may be earning more than you were,
but our lives
are not the same, you know. Like, I think us as individuals, we really do need to have that conversation with ourselves around, it's not a personal failing. I think when we do that, we'll probably be able to discern when we are being irresponsible, when we're not being irresponsible. It's not a personal failing. The recession is recessioning. The numbers are not, you know, and it's not like you can look for extra work. Some people cannot do that. I think, within ourselves, we really do need to drum it in that, like, it's not a personal failing. It's not.
And you're not being silly for wanting to socialize.
Yes.
I think like
it's not frivolous.
Yeah, it's not. These are not frivolous needs.
These are our actual needs. Like, we do need to socialize.
It's just the scale.
Yes,
we can have a conversation about that.
Exactly. So that's what I think. I think that conversation with one another, but as well with ourselves, is crucial. You're not helping yourself and the people in your life when you ignore having to have this very real chat with yourself. You're not helping yourself. You are genuinely not helping yourself. I think that's why, you know, when we've spoken about this, you know, when it comes to that, you know, that working on yourself is not just, you know, for my benefit, me as an individual, but it's also for the people around me.
Yeah.
And so perhaps let's also look at it in that way, where it's like, when I am working on that shame that I have or that I feel around this issue, you know, it makes me a better person for me, but as well for the other people in my life. So that was just really a roundabout way to just be like, let's have those uncomfortable conversations with ourselves and with the people in our lives. I think I don't know if it would make sense for me to sort of give advice, that doesn't factor. That doesn't factor that we need to be frank with ourselves.
That's such an important thing, because I think a lot of times people think integrity is about how we interact with the world and other people. But I think a lot of times the most important integrity is in the relationship that you have with yourself.
Yeah.
And that will show itself in the way you interact with others and the relationships that you have with others.
Yeah.
And I say this because when it comes to issues of money, when it comes to issues of finances, and when it comes to issues of lack, and issues of extra or surplus, the relationship that you have with yourself in terms of how much you give and how much you take is very important.
Ooh, yeah.
Because if you're honest about that with yourself firstly, and when you're taking too much, and when you're giving too much, and when you're asking too little, and when you're asking too much, then that will make the relationship that you have with others in relation to giving and taking much better. Because then you won't feel like I'm taking too much when you're being realistic about how much you're actually taking and how much other people are actually giving you. Because I think our fear and our shame comes from the fear of being perceived as people who are takers, when we actually might not be taking as much, or we actually might be really honest with ourselves and we're taking too damn much, and we're taking for things that we know are frivolous, or we're taking for things that we know are not like, super necessary, or I could actually bank this favor for another time and I would get more value from it. So I think we really need to be honest with ourselves in terms of, how much am I taking? How much am I giving? What place am I taking from? What place am I giving from?
Ooh.
And that will make things so much better, because I've been out with friends, especially in our early 20s, where I've had absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And a friend has said, I've got you. And I felt no shame from that. I've got you, because I knew that when I had something, I had them. Or when the next time I have something, I'll have them. And I know for a fact that that time did come.
Yes.
And we did do that. And I honored that relationship. And I've had situations where I felt like I'm giving way too much, or I'm taking way too much, or people are taking way too much from me. So it's like, it's very important to be honest with yourself and your relationship with giving and taking, and what bounds, like how comfortable you are, not letting the situation force you to become, or force the degree of how much you take and give, but like to be grounded in some level of, this is too much, this is too little, I'm asking for a lot, I'm not asking at all. Like have those boundaries in place with yourself, so that you don't feel that shame. Because I think that's the biggest thing. Like where we're like, my friends, if you know that like, okay, no friend, I can't. And you've said no friend, I can't 5 times, and friend has said 5 times that, and 5 times is starting to make you feel icky inside. Then you need to say, friend, you've paid for me too many times. Just wait for me to bounce back, and then I'll come through.
Because even those friends, they will be wanting to then
jiggy, they counting and saying literally, so I'm sick and tired of so and so every time we.
And then when that other person's like, I didn't ask you, then it's like,
then it's a thing, So let's all set our things. Like once you start to feel icky, even as the giver. Even as the giver. Be like, hey friend, like I hope this doesn't land in the wrong way, but we really want to do this thing, but I'm not in the position to help you out this time. Will you be able to come? Like,
that's okay too.
I just think
it's better. To break anything.
It's better said than resentment building, and then now when there's a problem,
then now it's coming up.
So
guys,
we forgot to do intros, but I'm Sipo.
I'm Misha.
This is the sisterhood of the Traveling Goer. Please let us know what you think, how you approach these conversations, and like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Bye.